Yeah. So let me frame up. I don't know if there might be some people here that don't know. What you were doing was you bought Corvee, which is $1,000 a month, and that's meant to help you sell tax plans. It helps you sell to a small business owner and say, hey, I am going to use this tool, and the tool identifies a whole bunch of different places for you to pull on for tax planning, right? It takes the S-Corp, it takes the, the deductions and the loopholes and blah, 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 blah. And what it does is it takes those inputs and then it has a really nice looking output. And their coaching model is saying, hey, stop your business of doing $500 tax returns. That's a terrible business model. What you should do instead is sell a tax plan, and you sell it as a proportion of the amount of savings. Kind of what these ERTC people do. And so the whole idea is if I come alongside a business owner that's making $300,000 and I position myself as a tax planner, I might be able to identify $100,000 in tax or $50,000 in tax savings in the first year. Well, if you play that forward over 5 years, and then you put a future value growing at 8% over 30 years, I'll make you a multimillionaire by making you an S-Corp. So they would tell you to charge a $30,000, $20,000, $10,000, $6,000 fee for that tax plan. And here's where I come in. So Devin called me a couple times. I think when we first talked, I gave you my little, I don't know about all that. Here's what I would do, and here's how I did it, right? So a lot of this is like I actually did it. And my perspective is that I think telling someone the tax plan is like 12% of it. Each year, they need someone to take that monkey of implementation on their back and do it. Mm-hmm. And it's usually managing a whole bunch of tensions. I don't think tax plan is something you pay for. I think it's something you do. It's something that is done throughout the year. Because I think I threw it in your lap right away. Okay, you make a tax plan in January or in March. What happens in December when they tripled their business? Like at my accountant, like just so you know, like we have literally doubled 3 years in a row. Like how? Okay, so my tax plan, do you charge me again? Or they have some solutions. I said,
they try to do a quarterly thing, but
yeah. So rather than do that, my suggestion was make tax planning just part of what you get as part of the outsourced accounting model. And in the outsourced accounting model, it's that we're going to clean up your books and establish a pristine chart of accounts. We're going to create a tax plan for you for that year and some long-term conversations, right? We're going to implement that tax plan. We're going to set up your payroll. We're going to get you set up in our systems. And then I'm really firm on be stringent. Everyone goes in the same payroll, the same bookkeeping, build your business, right? And then what we do is we pay in your taxes according to the tax plan and the revenue while I provide wisdom around your reasonable salary and your benefits. And then while we're doing that, eventually we get to these big mature conversations where I serve as more of a CFO. And I can help you make decisions about new equipment, new investments, new growth, cash flow, all of that. And then because we've done all that, at the end of the year, the tax return's quite simple. I recommend people do it that way, charge a monthly retainer between $500 and $9,000, depending on what you can get. Like I just talked to a guy, I have a couple of these outsourced CFOs that genuinely charge $8,000 to $9,000 a month. Now, I think there's a horizon to that, but they're in front of a hyper niche of $2 to $10 million companies trying to hit 20 to 30. Those are big girl conversations, right? But so that was my suggestion. Now, I got a question for you. Now, did you try to sell and did you have some success selling the big tax plans before? Walk us through what that looked like.
I did make some sales, and it was wonderful when they sold. But there's a lot of time on the front end, right? So this conversation that you're talking about having with a client where you have a reasonable monthly retainer is really, if we put you in the S-Corp, whatever the number is, but that's probably $10,000 a year, maybe $15,000 a year in savings. In addition to that, we're going to look at paying the kids and all the things. But we're going to do all that stuff, and then you kind of wrap it up, and that's what it is. But if you're going to do the Corby tax plan, and it could be that I'm just not good at it, because they say it takes half an hour. I never experienced that, so I could have just not been good at it. But you got to find out if they're even going to be willing to pay their kids, because you're going to put it in a tax plan and say, well, I can save you 60 grand and I'm going to charge you 30% before I tell you about any of it. How do you know they're even going to pay their kids? Maybe they don't want a 401k. Like, how do you package that, sell it, and then they're not even going to use half of it? So you waste all this time on the front end, and then it is a big price tag on the back end. So you waste that time, and half of them don't bite, some of them do. That was my experience with it. Yeah. It was still worthwhile. I learned a lot. And yes, when they paid that fee that first year, that'd be nice. It was awesome. But if I had a reasonable monthly fee and I knew they were probably going to be my client for a long time, year 2, 3, or 4 would be a lot better for me than it will be, because I already got it.
And my opinion, my perspective is that not only is a monthly retainer, so instead of you charging $20,000 for a tax plan and then just doing their bookkeeping and their tax return at the end of the year, my suggestion is to frame up a high value, high retainer alternative to an employee, and you engage each month. It's a little bit of work, right? But that they don't have to hire people. You can have big adult conversations about CFO. You can help them save in taxes. You can actually make sure they're doing this stuff. You can apply some pressure when the business changes up and down. And you can make sure that your tax return's easy because the stuff's getting done right. And so the trade-off is maybe you charge $1,500 a month for that rather than this $20,000 thing. So now you have continuous cash flow throughout the years. But here was the comment we made. The tax plan savings you find now is simply like a no interest financing loan to buy your services. I always think that the building of the two goals, there's always 3 buckets, right? Build tax efficient wealth and reduce taxes, build a more scalable firm and outsource to us and avoid risk, right? But I'll end with this. I won't keep going because I know I've had you for a million years, but
you're not wrong. And as far as like the scalable thing goes, that was a big concern I had. I'm like, well, these tax plans take time. If I can't get the monthly books, the salary I have to pay someone who can understand how to actually clean up year-end books versus the salary that I can pay someone who can run it monthly once I clean it up once. How do I grow it? So even in terms of growing a larger firm, this monthly thing where I'm in charge of the books, I clean it once, and then I can reasonably expect my bookkeepers to keep up with it.
Yep.
It's totally better, in my opinion, than that annual cleanup.
That's it. I tend to think. So I'm just going to show your site here and show over, because you came through. So if you go to his website and you go to how it works, as you scroll down there, you'll see these on a lot of my accountant websites. The whole idea is there's this list of everything that's included. And I have an approach that I think I told you a little bit like, hey, when you run a meeting cycle where you connect with people, then you do a good analysis to find opportunity, and then you do a proposal. But before you show the proposed price, what you do is you talk to them a little bit about how much they're going to save in taxes. And my suggestion there is just grab a sheet of paper and provide some top level numbers. Look, you made $120K last year. Grab a spreadsheet and just do some simple stuff, rough and dirty. You don't have to, and then you even said that you were finding some errors in the Corvee stuff. But the idea is a little before and a little after. It's a dynamic decision each quarter because the business changes. Like, I wish I knew exactly what was going to happen this year, but that's not what's going to happen. So on his pricing page, the idea is you always frame up everything they get. You always frame up what all you're going to do for them. And then what you do is you help them see you're either basic, medium, or pro, small, medium, large. And by the way, I'm going to find you annual tax savings that are going to probably be higher than what my actual fee is. And now you don't have to hire an outsourced or a bookkeeper, and your staff can focus. Anyways, I just thought it was interesting. So you set out to try the Corvee thing. Sure, we could probably make it work. But I had a conversation with them. I have a couple of critical reviews of them out there. I don't think it's a bad tool. I think it's a little rich. Like we talked about, okay, what else would I would do with your $1,000 a month? Man, I would be investing in some SEO, like real actual content to make you pop across the entire Phoenix area. You could throw it towards ads and remarketing. Like there's so many other things you can do with that $1,000 a month that it gets really hard to just have a really fancy future value calculation. Like, that's pretty much what it was. Yeah. Talk to me about the details. Did you find struggles on occasional things within Corby, or was it pretty on spot usually?
The basics were on spot usually.
That's what I've heard too.
But I did find a thing or two. And honestly, a lot of times they were able to show me how I had input it wrong or whatever. But I think my only thought about that was, I mean, I like that. I still actually pay my monthly fee. I still need to talk to the guy that talks to me every quarter, and I like him. He's a nice guy. So
they're
it's
good people.
Weird thing to say, right? Yeah, and maybe someone who's better at sales does better with it than I do. But your question was, did I find errors? Oh, and they market it like a financial advisor. Your stock guy could use this software and point out where your CPA is missing it. And your stock guy, if I input it wrong, he's going to input it wrong. For sure. So.
Yep. That's interesting.
That's all.
Yeah. No, I think, so my final message on Corvee is that I don't think it's a bad software. I think for scalable teams, it can be really good. I think that what it is, though, is you can kind of know. It's the S-Corp and the decision around the S-Corp. There's some tax credits you got to look at, right? Should you hire your kids? Should you use a simple SEP solo 401k? And then it does create a very clean presentation. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's a little rich. And I think that the fundamentals of asking them to buy a one-time big plan, when that plan can be a major, like I actually think it pays off. You said it, right? How many years does it take for you to land higher monthly retainer clients that will be clients for a decade or more? Like, they're going to like you. You're going to be able to add more value. And by the money that you make, you could probably just go hire a graphic designer to do a future value thing down the road. So that's my message is, if you're looking at Corvee, you're looking at tax planning, it's more of just, it's not bad, but it's garbage in, garbage out, first of all. Go ahead.
I mean, they have big conferences that I think a lot of people go to. It probably works for some people, but it didn't click for me. And I think that kind of your strategy it seems so much less stressful, so much easier for me in the long run. Probably going to pay off more anyway. Like, so it's just a little rich.
Yeah,
that would be the one thing I would do. It was a little rich, but that was the number one thing that I learned. Like when I started using you, was okay. This is definitely worth paying for over site solutions. Just like I'm worth paying for over H&R Block. So I got to try it to find out. It wasn't my thing, but.
Yep. No, absolutely, Devin, I appreciate it. Accountants, if you like the idea of getting set up with a sweet, just nice website that ranks in SEO and also advertising, whatever it is that you're looking to do, we'd be honored to help you. Again, I'm a little sharp on some of these. Part of it is I want to intersect with those of you that are considering doing Corvee, because I think that that last comment you made there, Devin, if you're going to spend $12,000, which one's going to pay off quicker? I think that I can confidently say that a Feedbackwrench website and advertising setup is going to pay off much quicker than the $12,000 on the Corvee plan. But that's just me. So, and you're kind of nodding your head along with it too. But thanks, man. This has been fun. Happy to have a good weekend, folks. We appreciate we appreciate it. Hopefully that was helpful. So have a good one.